USA Warrior Stories is a not-for-profit organization designed to record, archive, and share videos of veteran stories, to help veterans make a connection with one another, and to help us all better understand their sacrifices for our freedoms.
We'd like to thank the French and American teams who worked closely for over a year to make this monument happen. The French team did all the foundational stonework, landscaping work to convert a grassy hill into a monument site. Good morning, everyone. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
That's all my French. So welcome to the dedication of the National Navy SEAL and NCDU Naval Combat Demolition Unit Scouts and Raiders Monument Park.
Bienvenue à cet endroit donc, pour l'inauguration de ce mémorial, de ce monument en l'honneur des Navy SEALs, NCDUs et des Scouts and Raiders.
We are here to dedicate and honor those men who cleared these very same beaches on D-Day. I would also like to acknowledge the 3 Medal of Honor recipients that are here today. Mike Thornton, sitting over here, Ed Byers, and Tommy Norris are all here today.
Je voudrais honorer les 3 de nos camarades qui sont ici, qui ont reçu la médaille d'honneur. Et
Navy SEAL Museum chaplain Mike Shockley will now do the invocation.
l'aumônier va maintenant procéder à cette bénédiction.
As you will, I invite you now to pray.
Je vous invite à prier.
Gracious God, you know that many hearts are now gathered and joined here today in love and deep gratitude. We are here to honor a select and heroic group of warriors, a rare brotherhood of men who faced an enormous task against a formidable foe. We are here on hallowed soil, where every foot of ground was bought with blood and paid for in the hope that liberty would prevail. We are here to preserve the promise that the passage of time will not dim the glory of their deeds. These men, along with their devoted families, dedicated themselves to the defense of freedom regardless of the cost. So be with us today, O God, as we dedicate this monument to their legacy and to the courage they embodied. This we humbly ask in your holy name. Amen.
It gives me pleasure to introduce Mayor Denis Madois.
Bonjour, mesdames, messieurs en vos grades et qualités, mesdames, messieurs les Américains, très heureux de vous accueillir. Bienvenue à Saint-Laurent, bienvenue à Omaha Beach.
Welcome all distinguished guests, welcome in Omaha Beach, welcome in Saint-Laurent-sur-Mer.
Bienvenue à nos amis américains, NCDU, libérateurs d'hier, et leur héritier des forces navales spéciales, les Navy SEAL d'aujourd'hui.
Welcome to our American friends, yesterday's liberators, NCDU and their successors, today's Navy SEALs.
En fin d'année 2022, je dois reconnaître que je ne connaissais peu les nageurs de combat NCDU et les scouts et riders qui avaient débarqué le 6 juin 1944. Et pour beaucoup d'entre eux, qui ont perdu la vie sur Omaha.
In late 2022, I must admit that I didn't know much about NCDUs and Scouts and Raiders, who landed on June 6, 1944, many of whom having lost their lives on Omaha Beach.
Mon premier rendez-vous fut alors avec Valérie Préaudat et Jean-François Tardiveau, venus me demander s'il serait possible d'ériger une stèle à Saint-Laurent-sur-Mer pour rendre hommage à ce corps d'élite.
At that time, I had an appointment with Valérie Préaudat and Jean-François Tardiveau, who had come to ask me if it was possible to contemplate erecting a stele in Saint-Laurent-sur-Mer to pay tribute to that elite corps.
J'ai dû ce jour-là leur paraître peu réceptif, car compte tenu du nombre important de demandes tous les ans, je n'avais pas trop envie de répondre favorablement.
I must have appeared unreceptive then in those days, as in view of the high number of such requests every year, I didn't really feel like replying positively.
Puis, Yves Cordel, Laurent Guérin et Jean-Pierre Pavriot ont insisté pour que je porte une attention particulière sur cette unité de force navale qui avait participé au débarquement et qui était un peu oubliée sur nos plages.
Then Yves Cordel, Laurent Guérin, and Jean-Pierre Pavriot insisted that I should pay special attention to these Special Forces unit who had participated in the D-Day landings and who had fallen into oblivion on our shores.
J'ai donc eu un deuxième rendez-vous avec Valérie Préaudat et Jean-François Tardiveau, me demandant cette fois-ci si un petit emplacement serait disponible sur la commune.
So much so that I had a second appointment with Valérie Préaudat and Jean-François Tardiveau, who asked me if there couldn't be an available little space in the village.
Petit emplacement qui a bien grandi au fil des mois. Vous le voyez, c'est un triangle en herbe qui était ici, au Ruquet, au pied du WN 65.
An available little space. As you can see, it has grown up a lot. It used to be a grassy knoll, if that reminds you of another sentence. That is in 1963, a grassy knoll overlooked by the WN 65 blockhouse.
Je m'aperçus alors, à leur grand sourire, qu'ils étaient très heureux de ma réponse et de ce lieu. J'ai ensuite rencontré plusieurs fois Matt Person et Paul, architectes américains, ainsi que Richard Woolard et Ryan Comby.
Seeing their beaming smile, I understood that they were very happy with the place. I then met several times Matt Pearson and Paul Cho, American architects, as well as Richard Woolard and Ryan McCombie.
Le temps a passé, la demande d'urbanisme a été faite par Johanna Duriec, notre architecte française, et maître d'œuvre du projet.
Time has flown by. Johanna submitted the planning, our architect, submitted the planning permission, and she is the project manager.
Puis ce fut le début des travaux avec Philippe et Nicolas Rigaud et leur équipe de tailleurs de pierre virtuoses de la pierre blonde de Bourgogne. L'arrivée sur le lit de sable de la plage vivante du Hérisson, tchèque, marquée par le temps fort offert par Nicolas Leloup du musée Overlord.
Then building began on site with Philippe and Nicolas Rigaud and their stonemasons team, virtuoso artists of Burgundy's blonde stone. Then the hedgehog took its place on the living beach, on the sandbed of the living beach. Hedgehog, then the weather-worn hedgehog, of what was offered by Nicolas Leloup, who is Overlord Museum's director. Then the impressive slabs of engraved black granite where photos and text describe the chaos on bloody Omaha.
Donc, puis la pose d'un impressionnant plaque de granit noir gravé que vient de traduire Philippe, et puis la mise en place de la statue aux nuances de bleu et de gris et des plaques au nom des donateurs et contributeurs. Puis la touche finale de vert sur le tableau apporté par Louis et Océane, les paysagistes.
Eventually the statue with its shades of blue and gray. Is it a coincidence? Those colors are the colors of the 29th Division, blue and gray. It was put into place as well as the donor's plaque. Then Louis and Océane, the constant landscape gardeners, added their finishing touch of green to the painting. Amazing grace.
Jour après jour, nous avons été admiratifs et impressionnés par ce que l'on voyait se construire.
Day after day, we were admiring and impressed by what was being built under our eyes.
Cette décision que l'on a prise un jour se concrétisait dans les idées des concepteurs américains et français et les mains des artisans, tous si professionnels et si passionnés.
The decision we made one day was turning into reality, shaped by American and French designers, architects, and the hands of craftsmen, all of them so professional and driven by passion.
Nous arrivons aujourd'hui à l'inauguration de ce monument NCDU, dont beaucoup de visiteurs vont découvrir le nom, le rôle essentiel, la bravoure et le sacrifice.
Today is the outcome of a project. It has been brought to life. Visitors will discover names, extraordinary deeds, gallantry, and sacrifice.
Quelle fierté d'avoir contribué à l'implantation de ce magnifique et solennel monument.
How proud we all are to have worked together to set up this gorgeous and solemn monument.
Je tiens à remercier Valérie, efficace et infatigable coordonnatrice.
I also want to express my heartfelt thanks to Valerie, an effective and determined and tireless coordinator.
Je tiens également à remercier à mes côtés Philippe, notre traducteur.
Can't translate that. Well, he just says thanks me for translating.
Merci aussi au Navy SEAL Museum pour ce merveilleux cadeau.
Our deepest thanks to the Navy SEALs Museum for that marvelous gift.
Merci aux forces navales d'élite qui ont œuvré pour défendre la liberté hier et aujourd'hui.
Thanks to the elite special forces who worked and dedicated and gave their lives to defend freedom yesterday and nowadays.
Nos pensées vont à ces héros tombés ici, auxquels nous rendons en ce jour un respectueux et reconnaissant hommage.
All our thoughts go towards the fallen heroes whom we honor today and to whom we pay a tribute, a respectful and grateful tribute.
Que vive ce monument. Je vous remercie.
Long live the NCDU Monument, Scouts and Raiders Monument. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Captain Rick Woolard, our board chairman at the National Navy SEAL Museum.
Please accueillir Rick Woolard.
Thanks, Grant, and thanks, Danae, for your kind remarks. My heartfelt appreciation to you for everything that you have done to help us create this monument. Thank you.
Merci Omer, merci à Denis pour tout ce qu'il a fait, les efforts qu'il a fait pour aider à créer cet endroit d'honneur et de souvenir.
Avec grand plaisir, merci bien.
Yesterday was the first time I saw this monument. My expectations were high, and it turned out better than I thought it would. And I really hope that you like it too, because it's going to be here for a long time. On a beach in my home in Virginia, where it's sunny and warm right now, stands another monument, a statue to a Frenchman. He was the Comte de Grasse, and it was his gallantry and his ships and his sailors that won the Battle of the Virginia Capes in 1781. This victory stopped the British from reinforcing their army at Yorktown and ensured the success of the war for American independence. So in my town stands a monument to a Frenchman who helped to create my country, and now here in your town stands another one to some of the Americans who helped to save your country. So now harmony and balance has been restored to the universe.
Ainsi, l'harmonie et l'équilibre a été restauré dans l'univers.
And I hope we have strengthened the bond, not just between the SEALs and the people of Normandy, but between our two countries. Many interesting stories will be told about the monument's creation, but one of the greatest ones is that we created it so quickly. I wrote the charter that directed the museum to create the monument in September 2022, and here we are dedicating it today. That's 20 months from blank page in the USA to a complete monument across the ocean here in France. Not bad. The monument has hidden features, and one of them is a secret inscription on the history panel that says, "Ordinary men, extraordinary deeds." That, of course, describes the men of D-Day, but it also describes those of you who made the monument happen here. Another hidden feature is the time capsule inside the stone with a large iconic photo, which you can't see yet, but you will soon. It will be opened in 50 years from now, in the year 2074, and only the youngest of you here today will live long enough to see that happen and find out what's inside it. Don't try to open it sooner, or I will come down and I will come back from the dead and stop you. And now for my main job here. On behalf of the Navy SEAL Museum, I dedicate this monument to the people of Saint-Laurent-sur-Mer. I dedicate it to the generosity of our donors, and I dedicate it to the men of the 6th of June, 1944, whose deeds inspired it. I'll be followed by Ryan McCombie, my great friend, who is in charge of the committee that created the monument.
Je vous donne la parole à Ryan McCombie, qui est président du comité et qui va poursuivre l'inauguration de ce monument.
We are deeply honored and profoundly grateful to extend our heartfelt appreciation to each and every one of you who has played a pivotal role in the realization of this monument dedicated to the courageous NCDU Scouts and Raiders, the trailblazers of the U.S. Navy SEALs. Your unwavering support and tireless efforts have brought to fruition a tribute that will stand as a beacon of remembrance and gratitude on the hallowed shores of Omaha Beach, Normandy, France. With profound reverence, we acknowledge the sacrifices made by the valiant souls who braved the tumultuous tides of war, embodying the true essence of bravery and selflessness. Your generosity has not only helped immortalize their legacy, but has also ensured that future generations will continue to honor their indomitable spirit and unwavering commitment to freedom and justice. To our dedicated workers, whose craftsmanship and dedication have brought forth a monument that speaks volumes of reverence and respect, we grant our sincerest gratitude. Your meticulous attention to detail and unwavering commitment to excellence have transformed mere stone into a symbol of everlasting gratitude and admiration. As we stand in the shadow of this monument, we are reminded not only of the valor displayed on these distant shores, but also of the enduring bonds of camaraderie and unity that continue to unite us all. Your support has not only honored the past, but has also paved the way for a future where the sacrifices of the NCDUs, the Scouts and the Raiders, will be forever etched into the annals of history. I'd now like to introduce Rear Admiral Keith Davids, the commanding officer of the Navy Combat Demolition Command.
Better late than never.
How's that for delivering right on time?
Ils arrivent au bon moment.
military precision. Bonjour, madame et monsieur. It is an incredible honor and a privilege to be here with you today on this hallowed ground. A heartfelt thank you to all of you who have braved the frogman weather to come and be here today. It's an incredible group. As I look around the crowd, I am always humbled to be in the presence of warriors, and there are quite a few warriors here today. Medal of Honor recipients, combat veterans, former commanders, senior enlisted leaders, mayors, admirals, some of my former instructors are here, no pressure, teammates, family and friends, and all the supporters. Thank you for making this moment possible. I'd like to offer a special thank you to our French colleagues. D-Day was a master class in coalition operations, and I think demonstrated the power of like-minded nations to fight evil. My heart has been filled with hope these past several days as I've traveled around Normandy and seeing the American flag and the French flag flying side by side in so many places. This monument park is special for several reasons, but probably most notably because it serves as a visual anchor and a symbol of hope. About 6 months prior to D-Day, Phil Bucklew, the future father of naval special warfare, and his fellow amphibious scouts came here to gather sand samples and other vital intelligence for the impending invasion. So the sand they gathered was to be passed back to a laboratory to be tested to determine what kind of matting was needed to support the tanks and the other heavy equipment to come across the beach. Phil Bucklew tells the story that as the team made their way to the beach, they used the Vierville church steeple as a landmark to help guide them to the shore. But at some point during the operation, the Germans spotted the team, and as Bucklew describes, and I quote, "Everything cut loose. The rocket flares indicated it was time to get out. And as they navigated their boats away from the shore, they were surrounded by a dense fog, and they narrowly avoided detection by a passing coastal convoy of about 6 German ships. 6 months later, on D-Day, in the early morning hours, Vierville steeple pierced through the fog of war and once again helped guide the team to the landing site. In a few minutes, we will unveil a monument, the new monument, and much like the Vierville steeple, it will serve as a landmark, a reminder of their courage and bravery, a reference point for visitors, reminding us of the grit and resilience of those who fought here. Each man moved forward with resolve, clearing the channels that would ultimately usher in victory for the Allies. 14 Naval Combat Demolition Units, or NCDU, members and 2 amphibious scouts are buried 5 minutes from here at the Normandy American Cemetery and Memorial. This morning, my team and I had the privilege of visiting their grave sites to honor their sacrifice. It was a somber and impactful time to reflect. And as I reflected, I thought, what makes these men so special, so worthy of a monument? What drove them to persevere against such incredible odds? Certainly not the desire for praise or recognition, not the pursuit of wealth, not professional promotion, not vanity. Scarcely anybody knew who they were. But this monument will help change that. I believe it was one faith above all others that inspired them, a faith in the readiness of their teams and a willingness to give themselves entirely to the service of their country without reservation. To a man, their offering was total and absolute. That incredible faith, that willingness to give everything, created the foundation upon which naval special warfare culture and ethos was built. Their heroism and audacity paved the way for today's SEALs. These warriors gave us Hell Week, a crucible event and evolution introduced by these pioneers, which continues to mold SEALs, testing their limits and building unbreakable bonds. Our ability today to operate in denied or contested environments and provide our national leaders with solutions to our toughest security problems comes from this rich history. And today's strategic landscape brings us full circle. After 2 decades of land wars, we find ourselves coming back to our roots, reaffirming our unique ability to adapt and excel in the harshest and most unforgiving of environments, the maritime domain. As we dedicate this park today, we salute the brave NCDUs and amphibious scouts, our forefathers, for their service and sacrifice. This monument will carry forward their legacy, ensuring their stories inspire future generations to cherish and defend the liberties we hold dear. Finally, I'd like to offer a special thank you to retired SEAL Captain Rick Woolard of the National UDT Navy SEAL Museum, fellow board members Jim Schaefer and Ryan McCombie, Jean-Francois Tardiveau, and Mayor Denny Madouas for their leadership and support. Because of their vision, the world will know the story of the NCDUs and amphibious scouts and will never forget the price of freedom and the heroes who paid that price. Please join me in a round of applause for these leaders.
Merci. Now I have the privilege and honor of introducing Rear Admiral Bertrand de Gallier de Bourdet. Maintenant, j'ai l'honneur de faire l'introduction de le Contre-Admiral Bertrand de Gallier de Bourdet, an old friend and a French Navy SEAL, as well as spending years with the American SEALs. Admiral.
Amiral Boyer de Borde, un ancien SEAL et un ami de longue date.
So, ladies and gentlemen, elected officials, Admiral, dear veterans, friends, comrades, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for welcoming me today and bring the nice weather. So it's a big challenge for me to speak in French and in American. My American is quite rusty, not as good as it was. It's always a great emotion for me to come to the beaches of Normandy. Emotion all the stronger since it's my first time at Omaha Beach. Omaha Beach, high place for feat, sacrifices, heroism, and today memory. Bloody Omaha is a name that history has remembered. Indeed, of the 5 chosen landed sites, Omaha showed itself as the most difficult and harsh beach for an amphibious landing. The high lost tolls speak for itself. Many explanations. First, part of the German troops were battle-hardened, notably some elements of the Wehrmacht 352nd Infantry Division coming from the east, the Russian front lines, and supported by efficient artillery. Next is that the geography of the area helped the German, who had very effectively prepared and reinforced their defenses. Its 15 strongholds, supported by mortars, machine guns, more than 80. The 5 access points to the beach were just blocked by anti-tank pits, mines, barbed wires, and concrete walls. Omaha was a true mousetrap. Last but not least, the environmental conditions were harsh. Rough seas, strong swell, and the current flowing parallel to the beach have considerably hampered the landings. Remember that given the loss reports, the Allied command considered stopping the operations in Omaha Beach. No doubt that the success of the landing would have been compromised and the toll would have been much heavier if there had not been the action of special troops. First, to check the feasibility of a landing by infiltrating small elements in enemy territories, even months before the operation, to collect intelligence. Then, at the launching of the operations, to guide and lead under fire and rough seas the assault barges toward their beaching points. That was the job of the Scout and Raiders, along with their British counterpart, the COP. Another very important step was to open the beach access, create breaches in the German defenses. That was the job of the GAP assault team, the NCDUs and engineers. They accomplished their mission with more than 50% losses. Those special troops were very few, some dozens. It is quite remarkable that such a small number of people were a key part of the success of the operations. Real game changer. They prefigure the today's Special Operation Forces, Navy SEALs. However, they are very relatively little known and recognized. The creation of this monument is a fair and essential step for recognition of their feat and heroism. At last, I want to highlight the honor done to me today. I know and always remember where do I come from. As a French Navy commander, I am one of the heirs of that particular kind of fighters who, in difficult times, never gave up, conducted raids and reconnaissances in enemy-held territories, and eventually landed in Normandy, Commando Kiefer. Next, I had the chance to join a US Navy Special Forces unit, SEAL Team 2, for some years. They accepted me, and one of my strongest memories is when I left the team. I was quite sad. But the commanding officer, Commander Curran at that time, said to me, "Bert, you belong to our community." An honor for me. Those years helped me a lot when fighting overseas alongside with US friends. Thank you to all those people who have contributed and still contribute to this essential work of remembrance and for the creation of that monument. Vive la France, vive les États-Unis d'Amérique, ne jamais oublier, never forget, and long live the brotherhood.
Thank you. Naval Combat Demolition Units, U.S. Navy SEAL, reenactors, post.
Dans la tenue vous avez en 1944, la tenue aussi une classique.
Now they have unveiled the sculpture. If you look behind me, if you can see, the stone, the large stone with the pictures, the V-shaped history panels to our left, the plaque listing all NCDU and scouts killed in action here on that day. The living beach is a monument to all the places Navy frogmen have fought, trained, and died. World War II, Little Creek, Virginia. Wadi Sabu, Morocco, Operation Torch, 1942. Amphibious scout Buck Halpern, who was in combat there in Normandy and many other places in World War II. Fort Pierce, Florida, NCDU training, 1943. Tunis, Tunisia, 1942. World War II, Italy. Yelna, Sicily. Anzio, Italy, Operation Shingle. Salerno, Italy, Operation Advance. World War II, UK, Normandy. Poole, UK, Task Force 0. Slapton Sands, UK. Omaha Beach. Sons and daughters of Alfred Palekos, NCDU 131, who was wounded here on D-Day, are putting the sand in. Utah Beach, wife or son of amphibious scout James Tolliver Davis, who was in combat here on D-Day. World War II, Pacific, Iwo Jima, Guam, Subic Bay, Philippines, Korea, Jinhae, Korea, Dominican Republic, Da Nang, Vietnam. We will now have the American national anthem, followed by the French anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the rampart we'd want, who were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land and the free and the home of the brave.
Allons enfants de la patrie, le jour de gloire est arrivé. Contre nous de la tyrannie, l'étendard sanglots élevé, l'étendard sanglots élevé. Entendez-vous campagne, mugir ces féroces soldats qui viennent jusque nos bras, égorger vos fils, vos campagnes, aux armes citoyens, formez vos bataillons, marchons.
Chaplain Mike Shockley will now do the benediction.
L'aumônier va maintenant procéder à la bénédiction.
And now I invite you to receive this benediction.
Je vous invite à recevoir cette bénédiction.
May the one who gave us the precious gift of freedom also give us the power to defend it, and give us the grace to love and comfort the beloved families of those who died to preserve it, and give us the wisdom that we might bestow the blessings of liberty upon the generations to come. This prayer I offer in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attendance today. The monument is open for your viewing. Thank you so much.
Maintenant, la cérémonie est terminée. Ce monument est ouvert à tous. Merci beaucoup.
Beautiful.